Let's see the design of the bolted connections. So for the design purpose, some basic terminology is used here. So let's consider that first. So if this is the given plate and the connection, and this is the direction of the applied load, so this distance here between the two adjacent bolt holes in a single row is known as pitch of the bolts, whereas this distance here between the two adjacent rows of the bolts is known as gauge distance. So the difference is pitch is taken in the direction of applied load and gauge is taken perpendicular to the direction of applied load. So this distance here between the edge of the plate and the nearest bolt hole is known as edge distance, and this distance here between the end of the plate and the nearest bolt hole is known as end distance. So instead of normal bolting, that is in a linear fashion, if we have used this zigzag manner, then this distance here, this is the direction of applied load, so pitch here is called as staggered pitch, and the distance between two bolt hole perpendicular to the applied load is still called as gauge distance. So for these pitch, gauge, edge and end distance, the code has given some specifications. So let's see them. So for the pitch, it says that it should not be less than 2.5 d. So the minimum pitch can be 2.5 d, and d here is the nominal dia of the bolt, or we call it as the shank dia. And for the maximum pitch, it says that it should not be more than 16T or 200 mm if we are talking about tension members. So the P max in tension members should be minimum of 16T or 200 mm, whichever is less. And T here is the thickness of the thinnest member connected. And for the compression members, it says that maximum pitch can be 12T and 200 mm. And if instead of normal pitch we have given the staggered pitch, or we have used the zigzag fashion of bolting, then this staggered pitch we can increase by 50% of the value specified above, given that gauge distance should be less than 75 mm. So if G is less than 75 mm, then we can say, or we can increase our staggered pitch by 50%. That is, in the previous case it was 2.5D, so here we can take it as 1.5 into 2.5D, that is 50% more from the previous case. Next is, in case of butt joints, maximum pitch is to be restricted to 4.5D for a distance of 1.5 times the width of the plate from the butting surface. So what it says here, that this is the butt joint, it say so if this is the bolts and this is the width of the plate, so it says that for the distance of 1.5 times the width of the plate from the butting surface, so let's say this is 1.5 times B, so the pitch in this zone, the maximum pitch we can take here is maximum P max here would be 4.5 D. We cannot take P to be greater than this. Now that is about the pitch. So for the gauge distance, it says that it should not be more than 100 plus 40 or 200 mm for the tension as well as compression members. So G max we can write is equal to minimum of 100 plus 40 and 200 mm. T is the thickness of the thinnest member connected. That is for the gauge. And for the edge distance, it says, so for the minimum edge distance, so whatever is applied to edge distance is also applied to end distance. So here it says that it should not be less than 1.7 times the whole dia, that is 1.7 times whole dia we denote with T naught in case of, so the minimum value of edge and end distance we can take E, or E dash we can write E minimum is equal to 1.7 times D naught in case of sheared or hand flame cut edges, and it should not be less than 1.5 times the whole dia. So E minimum is equal to 1.5 times the whole dia in case of rolled, machine flame cut, sawn and planed edges. And for the maximum edge distance, it says that it should not exceed 12 T epsilon, where epsilon is equal to under root 250 upon Fy. Fy is the yield stress. So it should not exceed this value, or if it is subjected to corrosive environment, then it should not exceed this 40 plus 40. T is the thickness of thinner plate. So apart from these specifications I have discussed here, there are some more specifications in the code. So if we need anything else, we'll see it there itself. If you want to read more, you can refer to the code. So if we talk about the design of bearing bolts, then there are some assumptions made in design. So let's see these assumptions. First one is friction between the plates is negligible. That is, if this is the connection, so in actual condition there will be some friction between the plates, but in design we neglect this friction, and neglecting this friction gives us the safer results, because this friction will mobilize some of the shear force which is applied here, but we are not considering that, so we are on the safer side. Second one is shear is uniform over the cross section of the bolt. So on this surface shear is applied, that is on this cross section shear force is there, so we are saying the shear force is uniform over this whole surface. In actual condition shear would be more on the edges and less in the center. The third one is the distribution of stress on the plates between the bolt holes is uniform. That is, this is the connection. So we are talking about this region here. The distribution of stress on the plates between the bolt holes is uniform. This is the assumption, whereas in the actual condition on the edges of the bolt hole the stress will be more. But this assumption is not completely wrong, because when we increase the load, so when we are talking about the failure condition, so what will happen, this from the edges this will start yielding, this part of the plate will start yielding, and at the failure this whole part would have yielded. So at that point the stress is uniform, we can say, so it is not completely wrong. Similarly, next one is bolt in a group subjected to direct loads share the load equally. So it says that all the bolts share the load equally, but in actual condition what happens, the bolts which are there far from CG, they have to bear more loads, but still at failure all bolts have to fail. So up to failure redistribution of stress takes place, and because of this redistribution at failure the load will be more or less uniform. So this is also not completely wrong. The last one is bending stresses developed in the bolts is neglected. So we are not considering any bending stresses in the bolt. So after that there are two types of bolt connections, that is we use the lap joint and the butt joint. So lap joint is simply we overlap the two plates like this and we put the bolts here, that is lap joint. Whereas in case of butt joints we use two plates like this and we connect this by using the cover plates, and here we will put the bolts. So if we are putting a single plate, if we are using only single cover plate, that is like this, then it is known as single cover butt joint. And if we are using two plates like this, then it is known as double cover butt joint. And after that, there are types of actions on fasteners. That is, depending upon the applied load and the type of connection what we are using. So the first one is only one plane subjected to shear. So this happens when we talk about the lap joint. That will be, so in this case we will put bolt here, so only this surface would be subjected to shear. So only one surface or one plane is subjected to shear, that is the first case. And after that there is two surfaces subjected to shear. So that will be the case of this butt joint, that is here this surface and this surface both will be subjected to shear. The third one is pure tension. So when does this happen? Let's say there is one T section like this and one more T section like this, and we have put the bolt here. And now if we apply the tensile stress in this direction, then these both the bolts are subjected to direct tension. After that, next is pure movement. That is, for example, we can say this is a column and there is one gusset plate like this, and if we have applied two equal forces at same distance, so the bolts, if they are placed here, they are subjected to pure movement. After that, next is shear and moments in the plane of connection. Shear and moment, that would be this case. So in this case there would be shear force if we try to transfer this load here. So here there would be the shear force and this would be the moment, that is if it is P, so P will be the force and P would be the moment. So that is the connection for shear and moment. And the last one is shear and tension. So in this case, if the section is connected on this face here, if it is connected like this, then and we have applied the load here, then it is subjected to this shear here, and because of this force these are pulling out, this force is acting like this, so that is shear and tension. And after that there are some principles what we use in the design. So two principles are there. First one is we try to hold the center of gravity. So the center of gravity of bolts should coincide the center of gravity of members. CG of members. The second one is the length of connection should be kept as small as possible. Is kept smallest possible. Now let's see how do we find out the design strength of joint. So it is governed by two criteria, that is design strength of the plate and design strength of the bolts. So first we'll see the design strength of plate. So the design strength of the plate, a plate can fail in these four criteria. That is, first one is shearing of the edge, second is crushing of the plate, third is rupture of plate, and the last is block shear. So block shear we'll see in the tension members. So here we'll see all these rest of the three. So the first two, these happen only if we have not provided sufficient edge and end distance. So if this distance here is not sufficient between the bolt and the end, then it can fail in shear. So this plate can simply shear from, it can tear apart from this. That will be the shearing of the edge, and it can crush also. That is, this part it will crush if we have applied a force like this in this also. So this part can yield if we have not provided sufficient space here, and we'll say the plate has failed. So these two failure can be avoided if we have followed the recommendations of the code of these minimum distances, minimum edge and end distance. So if those recommendations are followed, then this failure will not happen. So we have to see the rupture of the plate here. So in rupture, what happens if this is the plate and we have put the bolts here, so at some surface it can simply tear apart like this. So this part of the plate can simply tear from the rest of the plate. That is the rupture of the plate. So the rupture strength according to the code, it is given as TDN is equal to 0.9 AN FU divided by gamma ml. So here AN is the net effective area, FU is the ultimate stress of the material, and gamma ml is the partial safety factor, that is given as 1.25. So partial safety factor for at ultimate stress, that is equal to 1.25. So the only thing that is remaining is the net effective area. For the net effective area, if we have used staggered pitch, then how can we write the net effective area? So in that case, so this is PS and this here would be G, that is gauge distance. So the formula for net effective area is given as B minus ND naught. B would be the width of this plate, B minus ND naught plus sigma PSI square upon 4G multiplied by T. So this term here is used for every inclined surface. So in this case, what we have to do, if we are using staggered pitch or zigzag fashion, then we have to take all these surfaces. We have to consider this surface as if it is a critical surface or not. So the surface which is giving the minimum area would be the critical surface, and then we have to use some surface like this also failure can happen, or like this also failure can happen. So we have to consider all these surfaces. So this term is added for every inclined surface. So if we have used this line, then only one inclined surface is there, then one term will come. If we have used this line like this, so then 2 will come. Similarly 3 and 4 can also come. And if it is normally simple pitch, that is if it is like this, then this formula remains. It becomes as B minus N D naught into T. D naught here is the whole dia, and N is the number of bolts which are coming at critical section. So this is the governing criteria for our failure for this part. After that, we have to see the design strength of bolts. So we are talking about bearing bolts. So the bearing bolts transfer the shear force in two ways. It has some shear capacity and it has some bearing capacity. And how this works, so if this is the joint, so on this surface and on this surface, the shear forces or the shear stresses will be applied, and the bolt has some shear resistance, that will be its shear capacity. And on this vertical surface of the bolts here, it has some bearing capacity. So the minimum of the two governs the design strength of the bearing bolts. So first let's see the shear capacity. So according to the code, the shear capacity is given as the design strength of bolt, we say in shear, design strength of bolt in shear, it is given as V dsp is equal to 1 upon gamma mb. Gamma mb is the partial safety factor for bolt material, multiplied by fub by under root 3 n s into asp plus n into a and b. So what are all those things? Gamma mb is the partial safety factor for bolt material, and fub is the ultimate stress of the bolt material, ultimate stress. And ns, first let's see the asb and anb. So asb is the nominal shank area of the bolt, and a and b is the net area of the bolt at threads. That is, if this is the bolt, so ASP is the area at this part, that is if the dia is D, then pi by 4 into D square is equal to ASB, and this A and B is the net area at the thread, so it is given as 0.78, or the code recommends that we can use this formula 0.78 times pi by 4 times D square, that is 0.78 times this area, shank area. So this way we can find out these two area. And ns here, ns is the number of shear planes without threads intercepting the shear plane, number of shear planes without threads intercepting the shear planes, and similarly nn is the number of shear planes with threads intercepting the shear planes. So that means that if we have a lap joint, so what will happen, normally what happens here, this at this point it will be the shank, the root area will be somewhere here, so the shear plane is only intercepted by the, I mean the thread does not intercept the shear plane. So in this case the ns would be 1 and nn would be 0, and if the thread also intercepts the shear plane, that is if we take, generally if we can take a butt joint, in that case what will happen, so if a bolt is here, so at this plate the shank may be there, and at this place root will be there, so for this case ns would be 1 and nn would also be 1. So that way we can calculate the design shear strength of the bolt. So there are some reduction factors for the bolt capacity, and that are applied for these given conditions. Three factors are there. First one is if the joint is too long, so that means if this is the plate, like this is the joint like this, and this distance, if this exceeds 15 times the dia of the bolt, then we have to apply this distance, it is given as Lj. If it is greater than 15d, then we apply this reduction factor, that is Blj equal to, or beta Lj is equal to 1.075 minus 0.005 Lj upon d, and it has some limiting value, it cannot be below 0.75 and it cannot be greater than 1. So this is the limiting value and this is the formula, and it is applied when this length of the joint is greater than 15 times the dia of the bolt. This is the first reduction factor. Now the second one is if grip length is too large. If grip length is too large, so that is applied when we have this joint like this. So this total thickness here, if it is greater than 5d, then we have to apply this reduction factor, and it is given as Blg is equal to 8d upon 3d plus Lg, and Lg would be this distance, this is Lg. So this is the second reduction factor, and its limiting value, that is Blg max, can be equal to only equal to Blj, that is this one. It cannot be greater than this Blj. After that, the third reduction factor is if packing plate is used. So packing plate is used when we are trying to connect two members which are not of same thickness. If one member is having less thickness and one is having more thickness, then we have to use this packing plate for this connection here. So in this case, the code says that we have to use a reduction factor, that is beta pk. In this case, it is equal to 1 minus 0.0125, and that happens when the thickness of packing plate, let's say this is tpk's thickness of packing plate, if it is greater than 6 mm, then we have to apply this correction factor, that is 1 minus 0.0125 tpk, and thickness would be in mm. So these are the correction factors, and after applying the correction, we can give the shear strength of bolt as gamma mb into fu by under root fub by under root 3 ns into asb plus nn into anb multiplied by beta lj multiplied by beta lg multiplied by beta pk. That is correction factor for long length and correction factor for this if this thickness is too much or the grip length is too large, and the last one is correction factor for packing plate. That is about the shear capacity of the bolt. Next is bearing capacity of bolt. So the bearing capacity is given as VTPB, it is equal to 2.5 kb dt fu divided by gamma mb. Gamma mb is again the partial safety factor for material. Fu is the ultimate stress of the plate, d is the dia of the bolt, and t is the thickness of thinner plate. So this value of kb here, according to code, it is taken as minimum of E upon 3d naught and P upon 3d naught minus 0.25 fu upon fub upon fu and 1. So it cannot be greater than 1, so we have to calculate all these values for finding out Kb. Minimum of these four gives us the value of Kb. E is the end distance, P is the pitch, D naught is the hole dia, hole dia. So using this formula we can find out Kb, and from here we can calculate the bearing capacity of the bolt. So the bolt capacity is given as, bolt capacity is minimum of these two, that is in shear and in bearing, and the strength of the joint is the minimum of, strength of joint is minimum of bolt capacity or bolt strength and plate strength in joint. And if we want to calculate the efficiency, then efficiency is given as strength of the joint divided by strength of solid plate. That means what is the level of efficiency we have achieved with respect to the strength of solid plate, and this strength of the solid plate is governed by yielding of the solid plate. So we'll later take one example for that. And if we want to go for the design, so what we do in the design, first we find out the factored load and we consider a connection, that is we will take some edge distance, pitch and end distance, gauge distance. So using these distance we will do some arrangement of the bolts, and then we find out the strength using this formula we have just discussed, and we will see that this strength of joint should be greater than this factored load, then our design would be safe. So we'll see one example for that. And if you want to know the dia of bolt hole, so if it is a 12 mm and 14 mm dia bolt, then we take 13 mm dia for bolt hole, and for this case we take 15 mm, and for if it is bolt dia is greater than this, then we take plus 2 of this, that is 18 mm here. If it is 18, then we take 20, if it is 20 we take 22, and so 24 up to we take this, for this we take 26. If it is 30, then we'll take 33. So this much you need not remember, just remember this part, that is for 12 and 14 we take plus 1, and for 16, 18, 20, 24 we take plus 2. So that's it for this bolt connection. Next is the eccentric connections.